What happens when the soul of a god refuses to die? Imagine the coldest place you've ever been. Now subtract the warmth of life. The north is not a place, it is a silence. An ancient silence, older than names, older than bones, older than gods. And somewhere in that silence lies the skull. They say it belonged to Ymirver, ice god of the forgotten pantheon, betrayed and slain at the dawn of the first sun. His rune-carved skull lies buried where no mountains remain. But the world forgets. Humans? They always dig. Kara was one such soul. A scavenger, a grave thief, a map burner. She stole from the drowned, bartered with the dead, and outwitted tomb curses with a grin and a shovel. But one thing Kara couldn't outdig was herself. She found the skull in a placemat refused to remember. She touched it, and then the wind screamed. At first it whispered to her in sleep, a language she didn't know, but understood. The skull had no tongue, yet it spoke. Kara, you are alone. They would leave you behind, but I remember you. She carried it westward, past frost-ruined shrines, through blizzards that erased entire valleys. Every step felt like walking deeper into something, like the snow itself was watching, folding inward. People she passed, they saw nothing. They didn't see the ice growing beneath her skin, didn't hear the skull whisper behind her shoulder. Only one did. His name was Rutger, a beast carved from prophecy, draped in charcoal fur, and scarred by runes that had outlived their gods. They once called him Spirit of the Warrior. Now they call him nothing, because there are none left to speak. Rutger did not hunt Kara out of vengeance. He hunted her because he had smelled this kind of madness before. Long ago, back when berserkers turned to spirits, and gods died screaming into the cold, he followed the trail of shattered frost. Where Kara walked, rivers froze. Where she slept, shadows gathered. She was not alone anymore. He found the remains of a village, not burned, not broken, just missing, as if the snow had folded over it, like a mother tucking in her children forever. In the center, her tracks. A single set, leading north, into dead wind. Rutger did not hesitate. Days blurred. The skull grew heavier. Kara stopped needing food, or warmth. She didn't feel her fingers, didn't feel her face, didn't need to. The skull saw for her now. She spoke aloud sometimes, not in madness, but in reverence. She believed it. She spoke aloud sometimes, not in madness, but in reverence. She believed it. You were betrayed, Ymirver. They will pay for what they did to you. She began carving runes into the ice, ancient and blood red. Calling things she couldn't name. They answered. And Rutger? He saw her reflection in frozen lakes where she hadn't passed yet. He heard her voice on winds that didn't blow. She was unraveling the world around her. It was at the ruins of Skarhaven, the last place where gods and men once spoke, that he found her. She stood in the center of a stone circle older than seasons. Above her, auroras bent downward, like a noose made of color. In her hands, the skull. Her arms, frostbitten to the bone. Her eyes, glowing ice blue. You can't stop it, she whispered. He remembers. Rutger stepped forward, paws cracking the dead ice. That is not remembering, he growled. That is infection. Kara smiled, a frozen thing. Then, the skull screamed. It was not a sound, it was a reversal of sound. It unmade the silence. From the cracks in the stones, frozen blood poured upward, forming the outline of a figure too tall for the stars, too cold for flame. A god reborn, not flesh, but memory, anger, carved into wind. A soul too heavy to stay buried. Kara dropped to her knees. Her lips moved but made no sound. The skull hovered, glowing, spinning. And then Ruka did something unexpected. He bowed, not in worship but in warning. He began to chant, low, old, words spoken only by things that had survived the first collapse. The runes on his body lit, red, then blue, then gold. His body flickered, then burned, not in fire but in memory. He wasn't fighting Kara. He wasn't fighting Imirva. He was fighting the story, the lie it had become. Kara screamed. The aurora shattered. The skull cracked down the middle. And the figure, Imirva, god of frost, unmade by betrayal, collapsed back into wind. Snow fell. For the first time in decades, it felt clean. Kara lay breathing, barely. She looked up at Ruka with frost-glazed eyes. I just wanted to be remembered, she whispered. He nodded once, solemn. Then live long enough to regret it. He turned and walked into the dark. Behind him, the skull lay buried beneath snow, not destroyed, just sleeping, waiting. Because some gods don't stay dead, they just wait for someone desperate enough to listen. So, when the wind howls strange, when the ice creaks with no cause, when the frost bites harder than it should, ask yourself one question. Is it just the cold, or is something beneath it remembering your name?